Good afternoon and welcome back to St George's Park here in the middle of England in sunny Staffordshire. Well, just about sunny. A few black clouds around, but it's stayed dry for the best part of the last hour, so we're fingers crossed that we can stay dry through the last two games of day two of this International Rugby Sevens tournament. I'm Simon Ward. Alongside me, former England Sevens captain Rob Vickerman. And to finish with, we've got a very tasty Great Britain Ireland double header. The way that they've played out through the course of this particular day in particular, this has got some fair old conflicts going between the two teams, I would suggest.
Going to be an absolutely cracking way to finish the day here, Wardy. You see with Ireland's efforts so far today. The mid-band you want to be looking at absolutely hammered the USA this morning. They were brilliant in their efforts. GB for the men, unbeaten in the games that they've played, so a little bit of expectation on them. As many people will be watching this on the England Rugby feed, there is a huge story ongoing about the selection, the combinations, and ultimately the destination of Tokyo, and documented brilliantly online by the Mission Possible series. If you haven't seen it, make sure you do, and it will align perfectly to see some action out here. But a very difficult challenge for the men specifically against this Irish team who have been looking white hot.
It means that the table looks like that at the moment. GB men, the only team of the 6 teams here this weekend that have not faced defeat yet in their opening encounters. It has been very, very impressive from Tony Rock's outfit, the way that they've been able to work things. The only other 100% team going into this last chapter was indeed the French women, but they came unstuck. Time to catch up perhaps with words from within the crowd, within the squads. We had a chance to chat earlier on with Robbie Ferguson, the GB Sevens halfback, and before the head of the French women's team, David Cortex. David, 3 from 4, happy with that?
Yeah, happy with that, happy to be there first, happy to play, happy to have a tournament. Yeah, happy with that, even if yesterday I think we could do better on the first phase, defensively, offensively, and today clearly that was very good against Great Britain this morning, even if I think we leave 1 or 2 balls on the road. But I think this game is a game that we lost normally. Ireland was better than us. They won the battle of the momentum. They won the breakdown. So that's good to learn from that.
You talked to me during the week about learning and how this squad was getting more mature. Yeah. You've also seen some of those youngsters, Yolanda Yenga, really showing that they're having an impact on the way that you can play.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we are French. We've got our own culture. And rugby sevens is the same. It's project against project. We've got our own profile. We've got our own game, our own philosophy. And I think that these players who are new gave us the impact we need to improve our level and play our game, play our philosophy. But we need to stay pragmatic. The weather is the weather, the rugby is the rugby. The goal is very simple. You just need to put the ball behind the line. That's not just pass the ball and just play with it.
I'm sure the weather in Monaco is not going to be quite like this, but you're looking forward to the repechage and taking some momentum from this weekend towards that ultimate goal to make sure you get the Olympics ticket.
Yeah, we're among the lucky. We played this season. We played in Madrid. We played in Dubai. This is our third tournament. So we were very lucky this season. We are looking forward to the repechage. We hope that it will give you the opportunity to play the Olympics. This tournament is exactly in the way you said. We just prepare that. That's good to learn. Exactly. That's good to learn for the player. That's good to learn for me. That's good to learn for the group. And we learned a lot yesterday. We learned a lot today, and I'm sure we will learn a lot tomorrow.
Well, we're delighted to see you here at St George's Park, and the best of luck from Monaco. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks you.
Robbie Ferguson, successful day so far. Can you give us a bit of insight into how you found these games so far?
They've been really enjoyable. Just get to play against some different opposition with different personnel in their own teams as well, mixing up who you're playing with, getting used to playing with new boys. It's all pretty exciting these first 2 days, but really enjoying it.
And it's a unique proposition, isn't it, having a form of build-up? We've seen some amazing insight on the Mission Possible series, but bringing together the cultures, those combinations, as you mentioned, how have you found that aspect of it?
It's all been a little bit interesting. It's you have personas of what you see people as the World Series, and then you actually meet them in person. Some of them are like, yeah, got him right, and then some of them you're like, that's not what I expected to see. So, everyone's got their own little culture. We are merging together as quite a little team now, so it's good.
I would say that, though, you were a notable omission for not having the bagpipes out for the Scottish players represented. Is there anything you want to say about that?
It's a posh Edinburgh school thing, and that's all I can say there. Those two posh Edinburgh schools, it's not a thing in Glasgow, that's the Edinburgh boys.
So you are unbeaten in this tournament so far. Team GB looking strong. Clearly results are a different type of aspect compared to performance, but how would you say it's gone so far for you as a team?
As a team, it's been good. It's what we thought. It's not perfect. There's so much to work on, but where we are, we're happy with at the minute. And again, we're playing the conditions like you see right now, and it might be like this in Tokyo, so you never know. So it's good to have an adaptable game plan. I think we're actually getting there with that now, and it's good.
So another day tomorrow as well, coming at you after this afternoon's action. What would you say is a successful outcome from this tournament?
I think as a squad we spoke about it, it's just building on each performance and getting better and better and better. If we can say on each game we've improved and we can see clear improvements in specific areas we're now looking at, then I think that's a good outcome for us. Obviously you want to win every single game, we're all competitive animals, so I'm not going to stand here and say I'll be happy if we lose a game. So obviously want to win all 6, but it is performance before the wins.
Excellent, that's great to hear. Best of luck for the rest of the games. Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, good to see the Glasgow-Edinburgh divide is still in existence. Great interview with Robbie Ferguson. Indeed, both of them, David Cortex as well, very easy, very mannered and very relaxed, really, in the circumstances.
Yeah, often the way with sevens tend to find that these teams, as oppressive as they are on the pitch, really approachable off it. It's a real community of players, spend an inordinate amount of time with each other. So when you get to go, there's some good stories amongst them as well.
Well, we'll look to dig up a few more of those before the end of play tomorrow, but for now, to finish play today, it is Great Britain men against Ireland men. Let's take a look at the GB7 starting 7. Paddy Kelly getting a start, noticeably Luke Trahan as well, Morgan Williams, the 2 Welshmen getting starts in that call from Tony Rock. Ben Harris, the Saracens man, also in it, and there's Robbie Ferguson, who we've just spoken to, alongside Jamie Fonda. So very much a Celtic 7 to go into this one. Opposite them, well, Ireland have mixed and matched quite well throughout the opening 3 games. Jordan Conroy still in it. Terry Kennedy has been, well, the absolutely key cog, as has Gavin Mullin, one of the unsung heroes maybe.
Yeah, and they've got some serious power to come on as well. They've been going really well, this Irish team. Said before how impressive they were this morning against the USA. Started fast and kept that pace going. But in Conroy, they have got an absolute star of the game. And Terry Kennedy, rarely do you ever play a game of sevens when he's on the pitch. You don't say his name frequently, just so heavily used by this Irish team. And this GB effort really going to have to try hard to stop both those players from having a big impact.
And also watching number 11, Aaron Sexton, as and when he gets a call from the bench. We saw in that last game against the USA, well, indeed the first game of this morning, what he can do. Quite outstanding finishing. Well, always interesting to see how the teams have worked towards the end of day 2 and the progress that they've made, and that Irish outfit certainly will feel very confident going into this game.
And they rightly should. They were brilliant in how they played from many aspects of the game this morning, but certainly that doggedness, that commitment they have as a team, it's always been impressive. Whenever you watch Ireland, be it on the HSBC World 7 Series or throughout their European escapades, hard to believe that just 5 years ago there wasn't even an Irish Sevens programme. So a real success story, and I'm sure the confidence they're gaining here is going to help them next month for when they play in the big one, the qualifier out in Monaco.
Yeah, started in Division C in Rugby Europe's competitions, 5-6 years ago now, and then came through, shot to fame really, winning Hong Kong in 2019, qualifying for the World Series, and now very, very much established within the World Rugby Sevens firmament. Plenty of familiar names, not necessarily in those colours, that have appeared on that tournament as well. And this, particularly for GB, is all about the amalgamation, the working together, how they're trying to set things up, get used to playing with each other. It's not always straightforward, of course, but every game, every step they take towards Tokyo, they are looking to improve communication, improve tactics, and improve the camaraderie, which of course is kind of what it's about. Terry Kennedy, top try scorer in this competition so far. 4 tries he's run in already. And there's Jamie Farndale and Robbie Ferguson. The 2 Scots will be the halfbacks. Just looking to see, I think, looks like Richard Horton going to be, no, I think he's going to be running touch by the looks of this.
Craig Evans getting his stuff footy. Actually, just speaking to the referees, quite interesting. Never usually on the series do they get to referee their own nation. So Richard Horton, for example, never gets a chance to run alongside the likes of Dan Norton, Tom Mitchell, et al. So it'll be interesting from this point of view. Craig not normally getting a chance to be amongst Luke Treharne.
We'll listen out to see if there's any Welsh being spoken. This the last game of day 2, and then we work into the final run-outs tomorrow, of course. Stress once again, this is not necessarily about results for any of these teams. It's about the development, it's about finding some answers to some questions that they need to before the final team selection for the Olympics and various repechage and whatever else is going through for some of these teams.
Completely that, and that pressure in itself can really bring those emotions to the fore, competing for a place at the Olympic Games. GB already qualified, Ireland going for that qualification, and those stories alone are worth following. And just speaking about the GB team earlier, they're trying out these combinations, having never really played live before, so really interested to see how that's going to go as well.
Well, that was what Robbie Ferguson was saying. He's playing with people for the first time in this competition on this day, and it is a journey of discovery in many ways. Well, the good doctor is going to get us underway. Luke Treharne, great to see him. 13th man in Rio, of course, so he will be desperate to make the cut come the end of next month, or middle of next month, whenever D-Day may appear. Good take from Ireland, securing it, and now looking to get things underway with Duke Postlethwaite. Exploring down the left flank with Kennedy. Sean Cribbin in as scrum half in this one. There's no Dardis or Crowley playing to start the match, at least. Mullin struggling to get Paddy Kelly off his back. Good work from Postlethwaite, gets the offload in, that was unlucky. Ben Moxham thought he was in there. GB having to go from deep. Good tackle coming in from Aaron O'Sullivan. No easy exit for the home side. Ferguson makes a little foray. Farndale. Plenty of Scottish influence in this one. McFarland. Trahan. See how hard Ireland are working just to lasso this GB attack. McFarland now releasing Farndale. Out it goes. And here is a foot race. Anybody going to get near Ben Harris? Hop, skip and a jump. He doesn't need it. He's going straight for the line. And Ben Harris with the first try of this one.
Well, more concerning, Conroy's limping now. After that sprint back where it looked like he was in fast motion. But Ben Harris, he belies his size with his pace. So happy and content on this near side, just holding the width as Farndale found him the ball, quite casually calling for it. But certainly a concern about Jordan Conroy. He's getting treatment on that far side.
Trahan with a brilliant conversion from the right line. Well, the maximum return from that impact for GB.
Farndale just doing enough to bring in Conroy from that wing position. Ball in two hands, and then off Ben Harris goes. The big wing playing it straight out in Saracens. Eating up the ground, and there, bit of a worrying scenario. Seeing that hobble from one of the standouts of this tournament, Conroy.
Ben Harris, another product of RGS High Wycombe. Sir Matthew Dawson was one of the other alma maters. Conroy seems to be fit and able to return, thankfully, to the action. Kennedy. Out it goes wide. 2 on 2, trying to pull a defender out of place. O'Sullivan. Kennedy on the wide right. O'Sullivan trying to get the offload in, not quite working to Mullin, but very close call for Ireland.
Again, just seeing how industrious Terry Kennedy is with ball in hand. He always makes yards, takes the ball forward, and there O'Sullivan really stuck with him. Thought the offload was on. Potential high shot preceding that, I thought. About to see the end result. Just look for that offload on the inside. Lovely line, just can't quite be held. Needs to be a little bit higher. You can see the frustration is showing after it. But again, this Irish team getting stuck in.
Trahan puts the feed in. And to Ferguson. Williams sets it back. Paddy Kelly, the Glasgow Warriors man, played his first World 7 Series game January of last year, so pretty much a newbie to this level of the format. GB being stalled inside their own 22 thanks to the work of this Irish defence. Conroy trying to get McFarland down. McFarland, the Irish Scotsman, if you will, born as he was in the Emerald Isle.
A lot of play deep in territory here. I think that little bit of a kick in behind might well work. Certainly with Conroy not being at full throttle.
There is McFarland, quite often coming into that playmaker role, isn't he? That's one of the areas they're playing with, obviously, in the course of this game. Kelly trying to release Harris on the outside, but there was no way Ben Moxon was going to take his eye off the target there. You can see the fatigue coming into those GB bodies now, really having to work so hard, and they still haven't got out of their own 22.
It's almost like 15's tactics here. So much rugby being played. You've got to think they're almost playing the barbarian laws of not wanting to kick it internally because the space is in behind.
Ferguson. Throws it out wide. There goes McFarland. Start, stop, cut back in. Now they peel left again. That diagonal run closing down what is a fairly narrow pitch already, of course. Harris and Kelly not quite sure which way they're going to go, just trying to grab a breath, and there's due reward for the Irish defence.
That is one of the most exhausting things to do on a sevens pitch. So many contacts and collisions there that just blow out your anaerobic energy. Everything about that was exhaustive. Look at the players' body language now. Everyone trying to gasp for air. Such a long phase of play, deep inside GB territory.
Just not enough oxygen in Staffordshire right now.
And it's a brilliant defensive effort. Each one of these tackles, if were missed, would have been a full-length score. And it's Conroy just trying to get into the GB defence, beats a couple, gets the fend out. Such a threat with ball in hand. And conversely, GB not really getting that opportunity themselves, not many able to break that line. If they do, they've got to run in, because there was no one in the backfield for the Irish, playing with 7 up.
So, Irish feed from Sean Cribbin to get play back underway into the final minute of this first half, just with that solitary Harris try on the board thus far. Mullin, determination from the UCD man. The senior at Leinster, of course, are now full-time on the sevens programme. Postlethwaite gives up the ball, and GB happy to take back possession now. Have they got it in their legs to go the length? Trahan gets taken high by O'Sullivan. Kelly. 3 on 3, and Kelly at last puts boot to ball. McFarland's after it. Who's going to get there first? Kennedy trying to get back. Bounce of the ball beats both of them. But that's the half-time whistle, and this tight contest, as expected, with just 1 score on the board.
Well, typically it would be the very last play of the half. We see the kick. We're screaming for it. So much possession for GB on almost their try line. There's going to be some oxygen debt at half-time. Only get a minute before they have to spin it round and get going again. Not a long time. Heart rates will be flying.
Well, just the 1 score, and it came from GB. Farndale opening things up for Ben Harris, and the former triple jumper showing he has some straight line speed as well, despite the attentions of Conroy. Fairly simple operation as it turned out, just there pulling those 2 Irish defenders in, and there was nothing that Jordan Conroy could do about it.
You almost think that the threat of having him on the pitch means they're not as open to the option of kicking it long, because there, as we saw with Terry Kennedy's pace, he was able to cancel out that chance in the bottom corner for McFarland. So interesting tactical debate going on. Got to say the defence for Ireland has been outstanding. And seemingly GB, they'll be asking much more about what is it we're trying to do with the ball, how can we create that little bit more space. It doesn't have to be complicated, just half tackle, 1 offload, line break, but just try and find that chance.
Ireland, who came off the worst side of a 29-21 scoreline yesterday in this contest, but open up so well at lunchtime today with that 24-7 victory over France. 31-14 over the USA. That started today, and really it has set them up well. 7-12 yesterday against GB, 12-10 they beat the USA yesterday and managed to double on them in fairly emphatic style this morning.
Be interesting second half with the substitutes as well. Mitchell and Norton already prowling on the sideline. Expect them to exploit a kick chase. They scored dozens of tries a year from that.
Well, Trahan posing for that one. Picture opportunity. Good tackling from Aaron Sexton and co. And Sexton now adding his own particular threat. Sexton and Conroy on the same pitch.
Well, there's a race. Stowe Norton into it. McFarland is outside bet. There's your money on there.
Well, what was Conroy saying to us earlier?
He said line speed.
0.03 between the two.
0.02 in a 40-yard dash. So Sexton is the out-and-out sprinter, the 100-metre specialist, Irish schools champion. It's not a bad thing in your CV, is it? And now we'll hopefully get to see him on an outside arc, because he did it this morning and it was brilliant.
Here he goes. Williams trying to cover. Little dab through behind, but I think Conroy just unable to get there quickly enough. The angle of the kick just not helping Conroy on that occasion.
A little bit too much on it, but great tactic, because he runs so laterally and is such a threat. The space isn't behind. You can see him try and nudge it, puts a little bit too much on it, and as this is a football pitch, look at the bounce of it. It barely bounces up. But there is a combination, the three of them, Kennedy, Sexton and Conroy. That'd scare the life out of most defences.
Ireland happy to set up camp inside the GB 22. The pass from Trahan is intercepted. Mullin, Kennedy, looking for that inside pop and finding it, going for the return. Not coming back from Cribbin on this occasion, but the ball still there for Ireland, and they get through. Well worked possession and well worked try. Sexton not going in from his usual 40 metres, but going in from 1 metre, and it still counts the same. 5 points on the board.
And it's a similar theme, isn't it, as we saw in the first half. GB trying to play too much in their quarter. Trahan throwing the ball away, and then the big dummy getting him over the line. Is a big man, still so young, but physically very imposing. It's just too easy from there. Any half tackle who's going to get over the line. Not the best kick, mind.
We'll see that one again. They've got plenty of time left on the clock. There's two of Ireland's greatest hopes when they head for Monaco, of course, for that repechage. The showers that we've seen intermittently throughout the course of today. Comes across from Burton once again. Trahan taking safely. Won the Bermuda Tens before Christmas with the South African side, so he has managed to get some rugby under his belt recently. McFarland, lovely sideways shuffle, now turns on the afterburners. Anybody going to get near him? Coming back, but not enough, was Connor Phillips. There is a very impressive score from the Scottish wingman.
It takes his knee for a trouble. Exhausted first half. But McFarland, as he's done with Scotland, whenever he represents them, dangerous attacker, ball in hand, and he's translated that across to this Team GB effort. Always a little bit more spicy playing against your country of birth, I imagine. And here's his chance to bounce off the right. Couple of defenders in, 4 defenders in and around him. Fair bit of traffic, but he gets clear. You think for money, Sexton was going to have a go, trot him back. But as you mentioned, honourable effort from Phillips to get anywhere near him, really, because McFarland is sharp.
That chassis to the right twice, just opening the channel for McFarland to take, and my goodness me, didn't he take it? Here is Connor Phillips now with ball in hand. Ball goes loose though. Damp ball at the moment. Trahan, little chip and chase from the Welshman. The bounce doesn't work for him. Mullin picks up the spare ball. Now Ireland having to go from deeper. Dardis now on to try and run things for the men in green. Conroy sits back. There is the captain, Fitzpatrick. straightening things up. Ball goes loose, and again it's GB that are picking up this time. Morgan Williams trying to stride out of the tackle. McFarlane straightening things up inside the 22, and GB once again threatening in the rain. Ferguson has Harris outside. Conroy slips, loses his footing. Harris presenting the ball well. Concentration on the Irish faces now as they try and maintain their discipline. They're going to get the loose ball knock on and be put in.
It's not quite enough potency from this GB attack. Very lateral running, no one really taking the ball on at pace. And Tony Roke saying this morning, just wants them to try and go forward more, take people on. Such quality individuals, and now Norton comes on, speaking of which, you know exactly what he's going to do, ball in hand. He's going to give it a go, and the space in behind. The old famed chip chase Norton combo no doubt will feature.
Well, I don't know about this transit van we're commentating from. I'm hoping somebody's got an arc. It is torrential out there. Ireland doing really well. Hugo Lennox sprinting away, trying to get the ball to Conroy. Couldn't get the pass through, but Dardis keeps things moving. Ireland playing with the tide there and really working so well down that left channel.
So you mentioned tide already. It is absolutely throwing it down, isn't it? Tell the way players now slide into it. There goes Lennox. Gets in the gap inside. He's trying to find Conroy. That's savvy from the old boy Norton. He knows where they're trying to get the ball, and he blocks the channel and then gets back, makes that initial defence, and then a little bit messy at the breakdown. Pickpocketing Dardis. He's such a pest, an annoying human. Not just on a rugby pitch, to be honest, but that was really good defence.
You're speaking from personal experience, obviously.
I used to call him the Wasp.
Too big to swat away. Dardis. Ireland playing in the shallow end. Now the ball's out to Conroy, and there is an easy score for Jordan Conroy.
Much better fluency from the Irish. You can see when they get it. You know where they want to go. Get that ball out to the danger man. A little bit too easy perhaps from the concerning point of view of GB in the defensive laps. Norton found himself in the middle of nowhere, didn't commit to either. And as a result, Conroy out. Slides and glides.
Dardis with a sure-footed kick. Is that the full-time whistle? I'm trying to see through the hailstones that seem to be coming down right now. Looks like that's it, and it looks like GB have won this one. They won 12-7 yesterday. I think that's a 14-10 scoreline to finish for GB, so the GB men remain unbeaten. Very interesting contest all told.
Yeah, we'll talk about results versus performance. They got the win, but definitely not the best performance for this GB team. Difficult as conditions ended up, but still a lot of play in their own territory. Not much of those line breaks on offer or on show. I appreciate that they're into the latter stages of the second day, but with tomorrow looming, expect a little bit more. You'll take the win, absolutely, but in terms of performance, could be better.
Well, you can see, I think, on the pictures, the deluge that these players had to work with. In the end, there's that first half score from Ben Harris that set things up for the home side. Much of GB's possession was in fact inside their own 22, and eventually that pressure from the Irish defence paid off with the try from Aaron Sexton there. Close range effort, unusually for the Ulsterman. And then the breakout from Kelly. That little offload to McFarlane, sideways shuffle, and then reset the sat-nav for try time. final score that gave the Irish a glimpse of hope from Jordan Conroy, but it wasn't to be. That was the final play of the day for both of these sides. So GB men go 4 from 4. Ireland with plenty of positives to take out of the action today. Now we move into the women's tournament. Same combatants, different players. Let's take a look at the starting 7 for the GB side. Meg Jones in there once again, Rona Lloyd appearing on the wing. And there's the Irish starting 7, familiar starting 7 there from Aidan McNulty. Game underway. Rain just dipping off a little bit. Hall. Not that easy to actually see the players' shirts on the far side with the rain being so heavy. But now being worked up by Katie Heffernan. Higgins. We go again. Ireland on the 5 metre line, within a grasp. Oh, talking of grasp, just not staying in the clutches of Emily Lane. And Sarah Cox gives the put in. Looks like Brittany Hogan's taken a fairly heavy bump. She had a problem in the line out in the last game, I seem to remember, that needed some attention. Thankfully has recovered from that. Opposite Celia Quansah on this near side of the scrum. There is Meg Jones. Hannah Smith coming up quickly to support her. Chloe Rowley. To Rona Lloyd, the two Scots combining well now. Lloyd has got straight line pace and she's going to use it to the best effect. Well, she made immediate impact yesterday in the opening game against France. She's done it again today against Ireland. She has got something special, Rona Lloyd.
Yeah, it's called gas. That was a quality finish. You do not see many people get the better of Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe. The first up tackle wasn't right, but then you think, well, okay, she's probably going to chase her down. She doesn't. That's how quick Lloyd is. Wonderful running style down this side. Heard this morning from Ben Lonergan, their conditioner, about how many metres per second they're running. I reckon that's not far off a record. Into the nines, 33, 34 kph as the proud coaches look on behind. What effort from her, look at it. Perfect angle. Brilliant style of running from Lloyd.
Maximum return from GB for that effort then, as the rain thankfully stops. The tap is turned off. It's going to be a greasy surface, no question, but at least the players can see things.
It's one of those where the women trained, warmed up about 25-30 minutes ago, and it was beautiful, sun was shining. Then they probably came back out and saw that deluge for the men's game, thinking, right, oh, here we go. But they got a little bit of clarity now, a little bit of easement, and hopefully, as we saw in that last one, we're going to see some good attack from the Irish.
Set.
Lane. Looking sideways at the moment. Megan Burns has to come round the corner and go again. Good line though from Heffernan. Suddenly Ireland have worked it back with opportunity. GB trying to slow it down at the contact before they can really expose those gaps further out wide. Ball just not helping Lucy Mulhall there.
Never the question the effort of Lucy Mulhall. She's covered almost every square inch of this pitch already in the games that she's played. There's a little bit of an error at the breakdown. It can happen. Sometimes your mind working a bit faster than your hands, but now I get a chance to see a split field here. Meg Jones gone to the left. Slowly coming back round to try and create that overlap.
Hannah Smith cuts a sharper line, but the ball suddenly, Jones gets the ball out to that lady again. Good tackle this time from Murphy Crowe. Actually tracks her target down, but the ball is still there for GB. Hannah Smith with the offload to Kwanzaa, and Kwanzaa will not be stopped from there. Well, GB returning it quickly from the right flank to the left and finding that opportunity out wide for the former athlete.
You know, as the wide style of play, trying to create those breakdowns in the far channels and then string 3 passes together to get the ball to the side. You can see it's static. They're not running fast onto the ball. They're just waiting for the defence to come to them. And actually, that little bit of a juggle really did help in the middle. It meant that defenders came towards. They had a bite. Smith can be honoured with the assist in that one.
Conversion is good from Meg Jones. Yeah, quite often that happens. How many times have we seen it where it's a bounce pass or a juggle that just puts the defence off balance? And so it happened there, just to create that opportunity.
Just engaging defenders in very different ways. But it's a really good start from Team GB so far.
And the kickoff works for them as well. But Ireland know they have to get something on the scoreboard now in the final 90 seconds or so of this first half. Way through for Emily Lane. Ball presented well. It's a slow second play. Higgins, Mulhall trying to handle operations. Higgins cannot take that one, and it's Hannah Smith who picks up the loose ball, but pass just not quite accurate enough for her teammate Megan Gaffney. They don't know what conditions are going to be like in Tokyo, certainly from a GB women's perspective, but the likelihood is that there will be atmospheric conditions, should we say, that they have to cope with. So being able to play in different circumstances like this is good practice, I guess.
Totally is, yeah, and those conditions, as you say, need to try and be replicated. You can't do that artificially. This is a good test of skill, character, and see how they perform with different types of pressures. The weather's been one of them.
Jones and Smith working to this right flank. Jones just pulling the defender on, and that is great finish from the vet from Edinburgh. Really well worked by Meg Jones. Hannah Smith on the same page and in the right place. And that is a very good try from GB.
I like what Meg Jones does with the ball. She's so effervescent, pretty energy-driven person anyway, but when she gets it, she's always a threat. And these little hitch kicks she does, a little bit of deception with the ball as well, this is called the double pump. It just buys defenders' eyes. You can't not look at Meg Jones when she's got the ball. And with that glide, she enters the top 5 as well. That's a brilliant slide. Smith, you'd say doing the easy bit, but is in the right place, biding time for Jones to do her magic, and then gets to enjoy the slide over.
And to embellish it, goes 3 from 3 from conversions for Meg Jones. There she is, putting her hair up. But not done with this game yet by a long chalk. And there's plenty more to play for from both perspectives. 21-0 is pretty emphatic from a scoreboard point of view, but Ireland have had opportunity, just not been able to make the most of it as yet. Let's take a look at some of the action from that first half, and there's Rona Lloyd. Head back, driving arms, legs pumping, and nothing that a speedster like Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe could do.
There's a big lesson there for not looking back. Just back yourself. It's such a difficult tackle to do anyway from behind, and Lloyd's got wheels.
She certainly stated her case for inclusion in that party. That's a great picture, isn't it? 2 speedsters in direct contest.
I can't think of many where Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe doesn't catch them. So it's a real testament. Talk about athletes. Here's another one. Kwanzaa flying on the left.
Yeah, the former heptathlete really showing that finishing prowess. As we mentioned, this juggle pass as it was from Hannah Smith, setting up the opportunity. And then, of course, it was Smith herself who finished things off after Meg Jones managed the situation for the Scottish centre to run away round.
Feel for Megan Burns there. You can't not wait for it. That little deception in the middle from Jones, you can see when she gets it. Count the dummies. Constantly moving. There's one. Another one coming up, the second. Just gets the ball in behind. It's the Scottish show in the first half here for Team GB.
Ireland getting the call from referee Cox. Mulhall desperate to try and get some early momentum in this second half, get some points on the board, get the belief back. Devon Nickervoord just trying the hitch step, but ultimately not setting up the position for her team, and it's GB with Chloe Rowley up against Mulhall, I beg your pardon. Smith, Jones, feed out once again. It's Rona Lloyd again. Nobody is going to get near the Scottish speedster. Loughborough Lightning striking twice.
She's looking good, isn't she? Balanced and poised when she runs, looking for that work. So good when you make that little half break and know you've got someone with the pace outside you. Not a huge amount on in the middle for Lane, but just sheer pace getting around the outside.
And when you know you've got that finisher, that cutting edge outside, it's, I won't say it's simple, but it is a work on to just open the door, create the channel. You know that she's going to finish.
Yeah, and that's what Alex Matthews is probably thinking there. Just get her the ball as quick as I can.
So the Irish girls with it all to do now. Ball not easy to control after that early downpour in this game. Ireland work with one women's programme that allows the switch between 7s and 15s. So many of these girls, indeed on both sides, were playing in the Six Nations and now come back into 7s action. Ball working for Ireland. Get the penalty, the tap from Flood. Mulhall waiting, Higgins takes the contact. Presentation is quick, Flood looking to work that left-hand channel, but again, handling just not secure enough.
Oh, it's legitimate, that one. Alex Matthews flying at you at that pace, you're going to look up. As soon as eyes were diverted, Lane couldn't keep hold of the ball. Probably heard the footprints coming.
Rare exit during the game for Lucy Mulhall.
Okay, can't do that again. Okay, we all done with that?
Coming off as well. I can see
Come on.
James Joyce into the mix.
Binds. Set. Dance question 9. Okay, no, it's both of you. You can't. No, not until the ball is in. Correct.
Women's tournament
The
has
same
been
goes for you as well. Feet
as
down.
fascinating as the men's, if not more so, with France
Left side.
holding that perfect record going into the lunchtime game against Ireland, and then Ireland producing an outstanding performance to take that one 24-7. GB really putting them to the pump in this last game. Jones. He's working really hard.
You step backwards.
Abby Burton trying to step out of the tackle. Staying strong on the ball though. Rowley. Higgins trying to work her way through a phalanx of blue shirts. Stacey Flood with no room down that left flank. Higgins once again so strong on the ball, Eve Higgins. Emily Lane.
Your hands are going to the floor first.
Once again, the penalty goes, and once again, Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe is going to make the most of it. She is not waiting. She has run through unopposed for yet another score, and at last Ireland break the bagel.
And Sarah Cox gave the penalty, and as she was conversing with the GB players, by that time Murphy-Crowe was already under the sticks. Not sure she actually tapped it that well, but either way it was a good reaction.
Handful of tries
she
now.
does, there it is, yeah, fair enough.
She did, fair dues.
Nice touch that. I think that needs to be done more. Normally in a sevens context the referee would always move them about 3 centimetres, so it's nice to see you need to be that switched on.
You're hinting at a certain pedantic nature in refereeing.
I would never say that.
No, of course not.
It's alleged anyway.
Nothing to prove, Your Honour. Knock forward from that retake from GB hands is going to give the put-in to Ireland into the last 90 seconds of this. It doesn't look like there's going to be opportunity for Ireland to get ahead of their hosts this time.
I'd say it's almost been emphatic the way GB have got this game going. They've been looking really strong.
Farrell McCabe needs to take the ball on her back hip. Impetus is gone at the moment, so they have to build again, Ireland. Derval Nickerwood. Just not happening for them, this one. The conditions going against them.
Oh, it's such a shame, wasn't it? Because again, that was brilliant build-up play. Really good dummy midfield. Just not able to stick in the hands. That's what you can get with sometimes the ball a bit slippy. If it were dry, perhaps you might collect it. It's always unfortunate when you get a clip like that. That would definitely make your highlight reel, but you can't put it in because the net results are knock-on. If it's a try, it's straight in.
Chloe Rowley with the feed. Quickly moved out to Jazz Joyce. Now we've seen what she can do. 2 remarkable tries in the opener today against France. Again, errors in handling, understandably, with the wet ball that they're having to use at the moment.
It's a real skill you have to learn whenever you enter the game of sevens, certainly from 15s, is everybody needs to be able to play scrum half. So when the ball's on the floor, you've got to try and get it away as quick as you can. If people do just pick it up and wait, as soon as the ball's lifted, you're going to get swatted. And that's what many people do if they're not experienced at the breakdown. Just get it up, pull it back, and get it away.
Did you see Emily Lane trying to stand in front of Chloe Rowley there at the feed so that she wasn't going to allow her to get her hand in?
Gamesmanship. It's interesting, I spoke to Sarah Cox earlier saying she's never been in a position refereeing a live game as such with such representation of English players in a GB team. So I think she's even finding it quite a different perspective. Now she's a superstar referee.
Penalty to Ireland. Stacey Flood cannot control the ball though, and that is it. Sarah Cox has seen enough. Full-time whistle is blown with GB, the conquerors of Ireland on this occasion, 26 points to 7. Beat them yesterday 29-21. So no doubt Scott Forrest will be happier with the performance of his team, albeit in very difficult surroundings in terms of the nature of the pitch. There's confirmation of that final score from day 2 here. Let's take a look at the women's table now. As you can see, very interesting, very tight, could come down to points difference. But all to play for tomorrow, that's for sure. Matches tomorrow in the women's competition. Well, Ireland will start against France, having produced that superb performance at lunchtime today. They'll be looking to replicate that. Then they play this match once again, and then the tournament finishes with GB against France 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Let's look at the other side of the coin, so to speak. The men's table, well, a different story really, with GB at 100%, 4 from 4 for Tony Rock's outfit, and USA yet to get themselves going really in this contest. That's an opportunity for them to change things when they start against the Irish tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Then GB Ireland is the lunchtime fixture, and then this whole weekend comes to a conclusion for the men with that GB USA clash at 4. Well, thank you for your company. Thanks to Rob Vickerman for his company through the course of these 2 days. Please join us tomorrow, 10 o'clock kickoff for the first game on day 3 of these international rugby sevens. I'm Simon Ward, wishing you a very good night.